Now, sometimes it feels like every 2 weeks or even a month or so, there is a new Chinese brand coming out of the woodwork with their own cookie cutter SUV. It seems like all these SUVs are interchangeable now, and I know what you're feeling. If you're one of those people, this just might be the pill that can scratch that itch. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph, and today we'll be reviewing something new, something fresh. It's the Lynk Co. 06. Now, since this is our first time shooting a Lynk Co., let me give you guys a little bit of trivia. First established in 2016, some of the founders were thinking of trying to find a name that actually matches their vision of something fresh, something new, something youthful. So what they have in mind is trying to name the company after something like Pull and Bear or maybe Abercrombie and Fitch, hence Lynk Co. Lynk stands for link or connection or synergy between all of Geely's global brands, especially with their Volvo Swedish connection. And Co, well, Co just sounds cool. I like to think it's more like collaboration or connection, hence the name Lynk Co. And not just with their name will you see a lot of the freshness in their vibe, but it comes to design as well. As I've mentioned, a lot of SUVs these days seem to be interchangeable. Just make an SUV, slap a brand in there, and then call it a day. Not with Lynk Co. Check this out. You got these interesting lines right here, especially in the front. You got these power bulges right here and these DRLs. These are not the headlamps, these are DRLs, and Lynk Co. calls this the Aurora Borealis DRLs. More on those buzzwords later on, but hey, this looks amazing even in the daytime. It looks menacing, it looks fresh, it kind of looks like a cute Pokemon, if you a cute evolved Pokemon, if you think about it. These are the actual headlamps right here at the bottom. Putting the headlamps right here in the middle actually omits the need for the brand to put in some lower fog lamps right here because of how they integrate this new lighting technology. I think it kind of creates some sort of opportunity to design something new, and I like it. This grille right here in the middle that connects the two headlamps also has this interesting pattern. It no longer gives us that. I mean, I'm a fan of honeycomb grills, but this certainly works, especially with how it looks and connects these two headlamps. It kind of gives that muscular look that a lot of people are looking for, especially in an SUV. Now, this is a subcompact crossover SUV, but it still looks pretty darn muscular, if you ask me, especially with these front haunches right here. Kind of looks like a small bulldog with all these arms right here on the side, thinking that it's a big car. It is pretty big on the inside, but we'll be checking that out later on. You got these air vents right here on each side. Their use is actually kind of dubious, if you ask me. What they're supposed to do is try to cool down the front brakes right there, but for me it just kind of adds a little bit of aesthetic and look. And you got this interesting pattern right here as well in the lower grille. You got sensors all around, you got a camera right there, another camera on top that works with the advanced driver assist systems. Moving over to the side profile of the Lynk Co. This is where we actually appreciate a lot more of the thought and the thoughtfulness that Lynk Co. put in designing their cars. This is the two-tone look for the Mystic Gray color scheme. This is available in both the SE variant, which is the entry-level variant, and this one, the Hyper Halo variant. So if you actually compare the two variants, you won't see any much difference. The only difference between the two is with the advanced driver assist systems and a couple of convenience features that we'll be walking around later on. You got these nice 18-inch alloy wheels. They're 5-spoke and machined. It's kind of interesting how they implemented this right here, because you can actually see that you have a lot more to work with, especially with these wheel wells right here. So maybe upgrading it to 19 inches isn't going to be quite a stretch. You got 4-wheel disc brakes all around, and as you can see, it's pretty dirty. It's been raining the past few days, so no matter how much we wash this car, it still looks great, even though you got some mud all around. There's an interesting pattern right here on the D pillar. It's nice, and you got a roof rail on top as well. One thing that interests me here is the look of the shark fin antenna. It looks inverted. Now moving right here in the back of the Lynk Co. 06, in my opinion, this is probably the weakest part of the overall design package. I mean, you got these interesting looking tail lamps right here. Now Lynk Co. calls these energy cubes for these tail lamps. Looks interesting, but I mean, it's okay if you ask me, but I think they could have designed this a little bit better. I do like this whole black bar that connects the two energy cubes on each side, and this kind of boomerang look to complete the overall aesthetic. You do have two exhaust ports at the bottom, which adds a little bit to its sportiness. You also have a power tailgate. That's nice. That's available only in the Hyper Halo variant, giving access to all this space inside. As you can see here, with all of my groceries on the inside, you can fit 2 weeks worth of groceries on the inside. No problems. If you need even more space, you can fold these rear seats down. They fold in a 60-40 split configuration, which is quite acceptable for a small SUV like this one. All right, so we're inside the Lynk Co. 06, and right off the bat, I think this is going to be the brand's biggest selling point. You actually feel where your money's going to. You actually feel the benefits of the tax that you're paying for, this is not going to be the most affordable car from the new brands, but this one right here is just something else, I gotta say. First of all, you got this 12.3-inch touchscreen infotainment system on top. You can actually turn it off and on like this. My gripe about this, though, is that it does have Apple CarPlay, but it does not have Android Auto. But it has a nice touch sensitivity to it. It may take a little getting used to. There is a split-second lag right there, but nothing. It's not a deal breaker at all. It powers 6 speakers all around. So both the SE and the Hyper Halo package that we have right here has 6 speakers. Another distinction that the two variants share. You have this nice leather-wrapped steering wheel. It's got a D shape to it. It has a nice diameter to it as well. It's not too large. It's not too small. It's just right. Right here in the middle, you got a 12.25-inch digital gauge cluster here. Now, my thing about the gauge cluster is that you want to have all the information that you need right here on the digital gauge cluster. I mean, that's why you put a digital gauge cluster, because you can put anything that you want in there. But it seems like the information here is very basic. You got your trip meter, you got Journey 1, Journey 2, tire pressure monitoring system, and that's basically it. You can even see your advanced driver assist systems settings right there, but I want to see more information. And one nifty trick it has, though, is that whenever you choose a different drive mode, for example, it has multiple drive modes. You got 4 drive modes. You got economic, comfort, intelligent, and sport here, and it changes the theme all in all. I mean, it's a nice trick, but I would rather have a lot more information right here in the middle. Probably a heads-up display would be nice as well, especially for a car at this price point. But as it stands, like I said, the biggest selling point for me for Lynk Co. is the overall quality of everything right here. You got this nice center console in the middle. It's nicely shaped. You got this cubby place right here for smaller items. Right below you have a small shelf, and that's where you can find the wireless charger. It's going to be out of the way, for safety. You got a USB-C port right here. You got a USB-A port right here underneath the armrest. Going back to the steering wheel, I like how the steering wheel looks. It's very sporty, and it is adjustable for both reach and rake, although it doesn't reach that far off. That's what the electronic power seats are for. So you got power seats for the driver and the passenger, which is nice. And for the driver, you got lumbar support. That is a godsend right there. All right. So right here in the steering wheel, it's got some interesting quirks that I gotta say. First of all, the buttons, how they're arranged, is very logical, but it may need some getting used to because they're not marked for anything. I mean, you got some arrow buttons right here on each side, but you're not sure what they're for, so you're going to have to assume that they're for track listing or for volume. But there are some volume buttons right here, and a menu system as well to select between what you want to see, again with the limited information that you have on the screen. Now on this side right here, on the left side, you have options to choose your cruise control, your this voice command button, which I haven't really made it work out as well. But again, you have to appreciate the quality of how it's made. I mean, you got this nice leather. The leather seats are also contrast stitching with this interesting neon green color scheme. You even have ambient lighting right here on the side. Now it's daytime, so you won't be able to see it. But as soon as we get into a darker spot, it's very subtle. It's very light. It's not going to be intrusive, especially when you're driving. But you will know it's there, and it adds a little bit more panache to your driving. But here, you can control your AC manually with this clicky dials right there, which is nice. All right, so a few more things about this. You have a panoramic sunroof on top. You even have this blacked out headliner on top here, which is something I do appreciate because it is going to be easier to clean. Overall, the cockpit right here is fine. You do have some buttons right here to open up the power tailgate, adjust the brightness setting of the gauge cluster, and even level your headlamps. It doesn't have automatic headlamp leveling, but I do appreciate that you do have that there at least. All right, so that's everything that we can find right here in the cockpit. Let's take a look at the second row seats and see what we can find there. Now, usually with subcompact crossover SUVs in the same segment, and with a panoramic sunroof, I would be complaining about the lack of headroom. But here, you've got a ton of headroom, despite the fact that you have this sunroof on top. Now, remember when I said outside that it seems like the car is a little bit higher, and the way it's divided or sectored in a way where the character line is equal to the bottom and the top, it works. Again, the type of thoughtful engineering and design they put into the Lynk Co 06 gives me a lot of promise about how their more expensive cars would turn out to be. If they're most affordable cars like this, I'm excited to check the other models out. But hey, check this out. You have a flat floor. This is a front-wheel drive vehicle, so there's no all-wheel drive here. There's no rear-wheel drive, so there's no need for a huge center tunnel. You do have a flat floor, which is nice. You got a lot of room here. I was surprised with the amount of space I have here because on the outside it looks kind of small, kind of like most subcompact crossover SUVs, but it's not bad. Even for my feet underneath the seats here, I don't have to squeeze my feet inside or underneath the seat. There's no problems. The map pockets have these nets right here. Got this hard plastic at the back of the seats. It kind of looks like racing seats. I didn't notice this from the front, but here kind of looks like a racing seat. You've got these coat hooks or coat hangers right here as well. If you're thinking of going, if you work in Congress or work in a bank, you can put your barong right here, no problems. You got more of the soft touch material here. The soft touch material that was in the front actually carries over to the back, which is much appreciated. And the side windows are actually one touch up and down, automatic up and down. And you even have two AC vents right here, so no need to fight over a solitary AC vent, and it blows out cold air. So it's not just a fan, guys. It blows out cold air. There's no way for you to control it. You have to ask the front passengers and the driver nicely, but you do have two USB-A ports as well. So the seats, by the way, again, take a look at this. Again, thoughtfulness and design. The headrests move up, and it doesn't look like a budget headrest or seats right here in the back. And you can just push this button down, and they're back in place. The interior is where you see the car the most, and I think this is where they win, where Lynk Co wins against other newer car brands, even established brands. It's quality, and even the door when it closes down. It sounds solid. That thunk, it's very reassuring. Anyway, enough of that. Let's take this out for a spin. I want to talk about that engine, the suspension, and its drive quality, because if you love how the interior looks, wait till you check the drive. All right, so we're now behind the wheel of the Lynk Co 06. This is the top of the line variant. They call this the Hyper Halo variant. There is another one, the SE, the Origin SE variant, which is their entry-level variant, but powertrain-wise, there's no difference between them. So apart from a couple of safety features and convenience features. So let's start with this one. Under the hood, you've got a 1.5 four-cylinder turbocharged engine that powers the front wheels, and it makes 181 PS, around 180 horsepower, and 290 Newton meters of torque. Wow, for a small SUV, that definitely is a lot, but yeah, let's talk about that in a bit. Now, powering the front wheels, putting the power down to the front wheels, is this. It's a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. Now, usually with dual clutch transmissions is that you have this jerky sensation, especially in traffic. But thankfully, because of these multiple drive modes that you have right here, usually I put it in economic. So you actually nerf down a lot of the torque and horsepower. The acceleration characteristics tend to be a little bit nerfed down, like I said, and it puts down the torque just a little smoother than when you have it, let's say, on sport mode where it's all out power. Now, there is still a hint of jerkiness to it, but I've been driving with DCTs for the past few years now, and I kind of got it pat down. But my opinion, if you're driving around in a SUV that's not meant to be a performance-based one, I think CVTs are the way to go. That's my hot take. CVTs on top of DCTs. What do you think about that? Drop me a comment in the comment section down below. Now, the beautiful thing about driving around in a small SUV, you got an amazing turning radius, so it's perfect for city driving. So let's test out the acceleration characteristics of that 4-cylinder turbocharged 1.5-liter engine. So right now we are in manual mode and switching to sport mode. All right, so you got manual mode with paddle shifters in the back. Oh. All right, a lot of the power that it advertises that it has is up the rev range right here at around 4,000 to 5,000 RPM. So it can get a little bit noisy if you're trying to, put the pedal to the metal and try to gain a lot more power from it. But I think achieving its 195 kilometer per hour top speed rating isn't really going to be that hard. But we're going to talk about one thing that kind of nerves down the entire experience, though. The transmission is good for a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. The engine, that 1.5-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine, is smooth, surprisingly smooth. But I think its Achilles heel. Oh, look, it's a Ferrari. Just kidding. I think its Achilles heel is its tires. Those tires are meant they're hard rolling tires, and they barely get any traction. They're meant to be there for fuel economy's sake, so they're pretty hard tires. And you're gonna break traction as soon as you hit around, from my observation, around 60 kilometers per hour. So hard acceleration is gonna be quite difficult in this car. So I think the first upgrade that you're gonna have to do is, of course, change those tires. But as it stands right now, out of the box, it's smooth. It's all right. It's just that maybe change those tires. Now, here's one thing that I appreciate about the Lynk Co. 06. It's the suspension. So typically with cars in this price range, in this segment, you got you got McPherson struts up front and a torsion bar in the back. Not in this one. You got multiple independent suspension, front and back. And it definitely shows with the turning radius, with the way it drives, with the way it feels in the inside. It's very comfortable, and I'm pretty surprised at about its driving dynamics, its features. Now, again, I wish that Lynk Co gave this better tires, but at least it's easy to replace. Unlike that suspension right there. I like this. Ooh. Another thing where the Lynk Co. 06 has a definite win on its side is the NVH. Now, it's not going to be luxury car levels of noise isolation from the outside world, but it's a fairly quiet car. I mean, since it's a 4-cylinder, you won't feel any vibrations. It's not a diesel. It's quiet. It's smooth, especially during acceleration. And despite the fact that you've got some motorcycles, some buses, and Jeeps all around, it's a fairly quiet car, and I like it. Now, going through these ruts and bumps right here, still good. It's still a win. I mean, you could feel the engineering. You could feel where your money's going to. I mean, you could definitely spend, you know, below ₦1,000,000 for a similar car like this one, but those small things, that's definitely not something that you can easily replace. And it's a fun, engaging drive. All right, so safety, when it comes to safety features, the Hyper Halo variant of the 06 is definitely tops because you've got a complete suite of safety features. You've got airbags, ABS with electronic brake force distribution. You've got traction control, and you got some extra bits of safety here and there. You got hill descent control on a small SUV. Yeah, hill descent control. You even have advanced driver assist systems in this one. You've got lane keep assist, lane departure warning, forward collision mitigation system with automatic emergency braking. You got rear cross traffic alert. You got blind spot monitoring system on each side right there, and it's going to flash out as an icon on the side mirrors. And then, of course, what a lot of people seem to be looking for, adaptive cruise control with slow, what do you call that? Whenever you're in the city, you also have adaptive cruise control when you're in traffic. So that actually helps out whenever you're in traffic, keeping your right foot rested. So automatically the car would move forward and then forward. But to be honest, if there's one feature in cars these days that I can live without, it's the adaptive cruise control. Of course, let's not dismiss the fact that this also has a 360-degree camera system with what's the degree of that? 360 plus 512. I don't know, sure, but you do have the ability to actually see what's underneath the car as well, not just around you. And more importantly, this also has a proximity sensors all around. So it's a parking assist feature basically, so that you can make sure that you're not too close to some obstacles on the road, but it does get the same features whenever you're around. So that's one more thing. Pricing for the Lynk Co 06 starts at 1,199,000 pesos for the Origin SE and 1,598,000 pesos for this full-fat Hyper Halo package. Now, the thing with Lynk Co though is that they're constantly giving out discounts, so you can actually get this for a much lower price. But to be sure to get the lowest price possible, head on to Zigwheels.Ph so that you can get your own Lynk Co 06. So there you have it, boys and girls. It's our review of the Lynk Co 06. And since it's our first Lynk Co, I gotta say the brand has some really promising potential. We'll be reviewing a lot more of their cars and their models in the near future. I know you guys are very interested. So what you gotta do, subscribe, hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos, because I want to know what you think about Lynk Co and what other cars you have in mind apart from this one. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph. I'll see you guys next time.